Stand by to initiate release sequencer. On my mark. 5.
We're on express elevator to hell. Going down.
2. 1. Mark.
Hello, everyone. My name is Mark, a.k.a. Derringer. Today is Sunday, July 1st, and you are listening to episode 163 of the Instant Action Podcast, your weekly source for Planetside 2 news and information. As always, I'm brought to you by great listeners like you via the Support the Show tab on instantactionpodcast.com. So, what's been going on with me this week? Really busy week this past week. If anybody is in the working world, much like I am, you know, when you end of the month stuff and end of fiscal year stuff. If you guys don't know about fiscal year runs from July 1st to June 30th in the business world. So whenever the end of the fiscal year comes around, I am busy as hell at work. I don't know about a lot of you, but I dread the end of the fiscal year because of how much work that I have to do. Plus, at my work, also, that's when all our vacation time runs out by. So I had to use up a bunch of vacation time before June 30th and didn't get it all in. So lost a few days of vacation time as well. But that's just life as it is. Played a bit of Planetside 2, not as much as I wanted to, but that's because I'm eagerly awaiting the summer event. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in this week's show. But starting July 4th, I guarantee that I'm going to be playing. I'll be in Planetside 2 pretty hard that time going forward, checking out all the new stuff. Also, had a big birthday party for my stepson yesterday. Yesterday was his 30th birthday. Yeah, I know you guys all know that I'm old, so deal with it. Big party yesterday. Had a lot of fun. It's also hot as hell here in Massachusetts. It's hot as hell here today, too. But that's enough about me. Let's roll right into this week's show because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. So what's actually in store? First, I want to cover the June 28th PC game update and all its summer event glory. After that, I want to talk about the PS4 game update that will be dropping on July 2nd, the day most of you actually listen to this podcast. Then I want to talk about some changes to the Flail, and then finally end this week's show talking about Steam. So strap in as we hot drop into another episode of the Instant Action Podcast. So, like I said, first up is the June 28th PC game update. And like I said, this is a lot of summer event stuff. So this most of this stuff is going to carry over for both PC and PS4. I'm going to go into the PS4 update next. But so beginning, obviously this dropped on the 28th, so this past Thursday. And it does a lot of the groundwork for the summer event that's coming up. A lot of this stuff isn't live yet, but will go live on July 4th because starting July 4th through July 8th, they're going to be holding Independence Day festivities throughout the game. Yes, I said it last week. I know 4th of July is a U.S. holiday, and this is an international as well as U.S. game, but unfortunately, like I said last time, since Daybreak Games is a U.S. company, you guys are going to get stuck with 4th of July stuff. So what's happening from July 4th to July 8th? Well, first off, it is another big double XP event, so get in, drop bounties on people as much as you can, and collect that sweet, sweet experience. Also, infantry gear is going to be discounted at 40%. They're also going to be bringing back a whole bunch of special time-limited event items in the depot, and those are going to be things like the flare guns are going to be back, everybody's favorite FPS killers, or frames killers. Also, the patriotic camo is going to be back in the game. I'm sure the sparkler hood ornament is going to be back in the game. You know, little things like that that are all 4th of July themed will be back in the depot. And again, they're only going to be available from the 4th through the 8th, though. So if you've missed out on these things in the past, that is your time to pick them up. They're also bringing back the Freedom Thrusters that are going to be available for light assault infantry loadouts. They're max rank skirmisher jump jets with a patriotic twist, and as we know, they're going to emit little red, white, and blue stars out of the back of the jetpacks themselves. And also for new conglomerate only characters, they're releasing a Independence Day variant of the Nomad light assault armor in the depot, and it's basically, a red, white, and blue paint scheme to the Nomad light assault armor. I've never purchased any of the Nomad light assault armor yet, but I really kind of like this one, and I think I'm probably going to pick this one up myself. I think it'll look absolutely spectacular with that and my dollar bill camo underneath it. It'll feel very United States-y. I am a little disappointed, though, that it's only going to be available for new conglomerate, and it makes me think, or it makes me hope, that we're going to see a variant of something come out for the Terran Republic and the Vanu Sovereignty at some point down the line. I've been racking my brain trying to think when some of these might be. And I think for Vanu Sovereignty, they probably have a couple choices. First, a National Alien Day is April 26th. That kind of makes sense for me. But another one that they could certainly try to do is, when I think aliens, I think Roswell. And that event happened on June 14th in 1947. So I think either April or June probably would be a great day for Daybreak Games to reveal some sort of Vanu sovereignty type item. For Terran Republic, I guess that one could be a little bit harder. If we think about things, if you want to keep it U.S. based, maybe Memorial Day, that's May 27th for everybody. But a lot of people equate the Terran Republic with Russia. You could do the Russian Revolution, which is November 7th. There's certainly some dates that Daybreak Games could play around with, and I'm hoping, and I don't have any inside information, this is complete and total utter speculation on my part, is that I do hope that they've got some sort of Terran Republic and some sort of Vanu sovereignty stylish variant of one of Doku's armors, or even just any armors in the game themselves that they're going to throw at us for the other two factions, because I don't think it's fair that NC characters are the only ones getting a new armor, even if it's just a variant armor in the depot itself. But enough about that. Let's now talk about the summer event, because the summer event is also going to kick off on July 4th. And this is going to be kicking off for, like I said, both PC and PS4. So PS4 folks, pay attention as well. And the great part is this is going to go through August 31st. So really almost 2 full months of an event. So if you don't have time to finish off the Directive line and rewards for this, then you have no one to blame but yourself. So again, they're kicking off this event, new Directive line, new rewards, complementary weapons, things like that. So first off, in your secondary weapon slot starting on July 4th, you're going to be able to equip the new Soldier Soaker pistol. It's basically a water gun, and you're able to hit enemies with blasts of water. If you go into your grenade slot, you're going to be able to equip water balloons, and they detonate on impact and deal moderate damage. That one's going to be fun to use. Both of those will be able to contribute to the new summer directive, and they will disappear automatically from your loadouts when the event ends. And again, you don't need to purchase them. You're going to get them automatically. Now, do note that I mentioned nothing about the sparklers that they showed on the dev live stream, because unfortunately the sparklers have been removed. And I had tweeted earlier last week, Thursday of last week, about my thoughts on how they should implement the sparklers. And then Nick replied pretty quickly, and he wrote, "Sadly, the sparklers had to be cut due to issues with first-person particle effects that I guarantee would have been super annoying if we would have went live with them." So Again, unfortunately, the sparklers have been removed, so you're not going to be able to use your new quote-unquote sparkly knife during the summer event. I'm disappointed that they're not coming into the game, but at least I appreciate the honesty coming from them, saying that it would have absolutely screwed up players and been really annoying and had some really bad effects in game. So if they're looking to not make players' lives miserable from 1,000 infiltrators with knives running at them, then it's probably for the best. I do think that most people were disappointed, like I mean, when I posted Nick's comments on Reddit, there were a flurry of sad emoticons and stuff like that, because I think everybody wanted to see these things in game. I definitely wanted to see them in game too, but I'm hoping that this also means that they're taking them back to the drawing board and aren't going to scrap them altogether. This would certainly be a great thing to add to the game, maybe on New Year's, because I know a lot of people are out there with sparklers on New Year's as well. So maybe the devs will think about kind of working on them and fixing whatever the particle issues that they had by New Year's, because I think that would be a great addition to any sort of New Year's event that we have as well. Now, let's talk about this summer directive. So you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different directives that you can work on, and it looks like you only need to complete 4 of them ultimately. Let me double check that. All right, scratch that. It's not actually live in game yet, so I'm not exactly sure how many of them that you need to do. Maybe it's all 6 by the time you complete the master event of it. But the directive line itself is called Summer Fun, and here are the different directives that you're going to be working on. So the first one is called Beat the Heat, and you need to score kills with a summer holiday weapon, and it looks like both the squirt gun and the water balloon are going to count towards that. Next is called Beachhead, and it's kill enemy vehicles while in a vehicle yourself. So certainly all you tank mains are going to enjoy this one. Also air-to-air and stuff like that. I bet the air anomaly will be a great time to work on your beachhead kills. Next one's called Death from Above, and you need to kill enemies while mid-air as any infantry class. Next is the Summer Support Ribbons, and basically you're going to earn support ribbons by resupplying or repairing friendly vehicles while in a vehicle yourself. Next, Transport Assist. You need to earn XP when allies leave your vehicle and score a kill. And finally, King of the Castle. Earn experience by capturing or defending control points. And when you get your silver reward on this, you're going to earn the Indar Summer Profile banner. It's just, a serene picture of Indar in a tree. When you get to the tier 3, this is your gold reward. This is the one that has everybody talking right now, because they are rewarding some Flash Empire specific weaponry for the gold tier. And let's be honest, the gold tier is not too difficult to achieve. So again, they're introducing 3 new Flash weapons. They will go into the depot later in the year, but you can unlock them by earning your gold reward without a cert price. So starting with the new conglomerate, you're going to be able to earn the LA7 Buzzard. And what they say the Buzzard converts the Flash into a makeshift artillery platform using heavy, high explosive shells with a large blast radius. The Vanu Sovereignty are getting the V30F Starfall, and the Starfall is going to fire a quick 3-round plasma barrage meant to strike at unsuspecting vehicles with lightning speed. And the Terran Republic are going to unlock the M4F Pillager, and the Pillager will lay down a field of flames which ignite infantry caught within it. So certainly interesting, 3 different things. I'm a little concerned about the Pillager. It sounds like a flamethrower, and we know that there have been issues with flamethrowers in the past, but we'll see how that is when it comes onto live. I'm also a little concerned because there seems to be very little testing of these on the PTS itself, and they're just kind of drop on live on the 4th of July. And we'll see how quickly people unlock them, and let's see if there's a nerf to any of them next week in a quick patch. But moving on, finally, the Tier 4, the Araxium reward, is going to give you the Araxium water balloon hood ornament for vehicles. So there is the entire summer event in a nutshell. Again, these are coming to both PC and PS4 starting July 4th and are going to run all the way through August 31st. I'm super excited that it's almost 2 full months to complete this because I know some of you are procrastinators like I am, and it takes you a while to get these things. Finally, in this game update, there were also a few bug fixes. The biggest few that I saw, the orbital strike can no longer be infinitely fired. Routers and spawn tubes are going to award experience to the owner for player spawns. That's a huge one. And really the two biggest ones, the Max now has a new directive objective, damage to vehicles. That's huge. You no longer have to go through punching people in your Max to Araxium it. And the Valkyrie also got a new directive objective, and this one is road kills. So I think you no longer need to kill enemies while being a passenger in a Valkyrie, one of the harder ones as well. Final thing I want to talk about is the welding tool has been removed from the silo and ant terminals. And Rel said the reason for this is there's currently a bug where if you pick up a deconstruction tool, then pick up a welding tool, you'll still be using the deconstruction tool, even though it looks like the welding tool. And what this means is you'll be accidentally griefing yourself instead of repairing things. Their plan is to get that tech fixed at some point. But it's a low priority task compared to everything else, so they just decided to remove it until the bug itself is fixed. So currently note that you're not going to be able to pick up that welding tool. The only known issue with this update besides that is the Buzzard has a 20-meter arming distance, but that's not conveyed on the weapon's animations at the moment, and they will remedy that ultimately. And the final thing about this patch is a lot of people said why weren't any issues with networking, and lag and things like that talked about in this game update. And Paul responded that, as was mentioned before, they've been looking into a couple of the client and network performance issues since the last major update. He's been kicking off alerts early on live to test of various things. And he says a lot of the egregious client issues should be fixed and should be fixed by the next patch that they send out. As for network issues, they're actively pursuing other solutions. And the main issue that they're seeing right now is from connections from players and servers on the French ISP Orange. So if you're on that or playing with people who are using that, that's why you're actually going to see some network issues. Paul also went on to say that they're taking a look at other general performance while we're deep in the engine, and he says that they're addressing some client timing hotspots, some network spikes, and more things like that, and really just to thank everyone for their patience regarding this, and hopefully the network issues will be resolved soon. So that is the June 28th game update in a nutshell. With that, let's move on to the PS4 game update. And like I said, this is the July 2nd PS4 game update, so I'm kind of talking about something that hasn't happened yet. It's going to be happening in the future. So this is dropping, like I said, Monday, July 2nd. It's going to be coming out for PS4. You're going to be getting a lot of the things that have already been live on the PC side of the game, starting off with the continent events. So you all know I've talked about these already. Starting off in the beginning, we're just getting the air anomaly event plus the various facility alerts or facility events now. So again, warp gates are going to stabilize. They're going to charge for a few hours while they're stabilizing. These are going to kick off. They seem to kick off every 30 minutes or so. Rewards vary. Again, I've talked about these in the past. These events, just like on PC side, are pulled randomly from a pool, and they do want to add more event types as they can. Now, once the warp gates finish charging, the warp gates will enter that meltdown stage, and basically the first faction to reach 41% territory is going to trigger that meltdown alert. And the changes are in there. They're a winner-take-all alert at this point, so the triggering faction doesn't need to win it. They do need to win it if they want to lock the continent, but it's back again to a territory control event for a full 1 hour and 30 minutes. So certainly a much longer than the previous ones were. But again, now PS4, you've got these new events and alerts as well, just like we did on the PC side. For the VR Colt here, you can fly ESFs and Valkyries again in them. You're also getting the Amrish lattice changes that we talked about before. So the Augur connects to Ickenham Garrison, and Ickenham Triage no longer connect. Triage and Motor Pool no longer connect. And Garrison and Motor Pool no longer connect. And again, this is to force players to go through Ickenham Biolab before they're able to progress any further down the lattice. And that's important because obviously before you could certainly skip around them. Also in this game update are the holiday event stuff. So I just finished talking about all those. You're going to have access to all those things. They also added the cooldown timers for vehicles to the PS4. So instead of getting that waiting message, you're actually going to see how many seconds are left or minutes and seconds are left on your cooldown for the timers. I think that's great. You're getting the new battle rifles as well, the Dragoon for the Terran Republic, the Bishop for the New Conglomerate, and the Obelisk for the Vow of Sovereignty. They also made changes to the Resto kit, so it no longer stacks with the Combat Medics Nano Regen device, and its description has been updated. C4 changes are also now live, will be live on PS4. So the new detonator model is added, and the Araxium model is added as well. It's using a new icon. It also has its 0.4 second delay before the trigger press completes. And the throw and trigger now share the same refire rate. And also you had a fix so the second brick doesn't look like it's being thrown from the waist. You also got the various pistol and battle rifle changes. So first the Black Hand. This one, its max damage range change hadn't made it into a previous update. It's been added to this. Again, your Eidolon, your Warden, your AMR 66, your Revenant, your Guardian, and your DMR 99 battle rifles all had the Cone of Fire, recovery rate, etc. changes made that I talked about on the PC side a few weeks ago. The 99 SV and the Gauss SPR, those are the semi-auto sniper rifles, also had their maximum ADS Cone of Fire and ADS Cone of Fire recovery rates. Cone of Fire Bloom, max and min damage, projectile velocity, all had those changes that I talked about a few weeks pushed in. Spectre had its changes pushed in. In addition to that, there were also other miscellaneous infantry changes. Reserve hard light barriers can be repaired. As with a bunch of other different things, miscellaneous changes that went in as well. Again, stuff that I've all talked about before. You also had some vehicle changes that I talked about before added. The biggest, anchor mode for Prowler is now integrated into Prowler by default, and any certs you spent were refunded. And instead, now Barrage is available for the Prowlers. It's in your utility slot. While active, the Prowler's main cannon reload speed is increased by 30% for a period of time, and it can be used in conjunction with anchored mode or while you're actually moving. You also get the MR11 Gatekeeper changes that were implemented to bump up the alpha damage and reload times to quicken its time to kill against main battle tanks. Harassers didn't get changed. Also, by removing the projectile acceleration, it should make it easier to deliver its full payload over longer distances. We also got the changes to the Aphelion, that the crescent beams are now piercing through vehicles and infantry up to 2 targets total. Everybody was excited about that one. Same changes that, or the same iteration as the bishop that's able to pass through players as well. You also got the changes to the Vulcan, also, and the Enforcer and Mjolnir that I talked about a few weeks ago also. And finally, you've also got the various different miscellaneous changes that I just talked about on the PC side as well, including the new Max and Valkyrie directives as well. So certainly lots of various changes. I know I kind of buzzed through a lot of this quick because I did talk about the majority of these 2 weeks ago on the PC side, so I will make sure that I include a link to this in this week's show notes so that you can certainly go in and check them all out yourself. But praise be, PS4 side, you have a lot of the stuff that's been on PC now for a couple weeks, and you can enjoy it as well. Obviously, none of the construction stuff, which is really the big stuff on PC side, has made it to PS4 because you guys still don't have construction, and there's still no time frame, or we just don't know when it's going to make its way onto PS4 at this point. But with that, let's move on to our third topic this week. And that third topic brings us back to the PC side because I wanted to talk about the Flail for a second. And there were some friendly fire changes that have made it into the game itself. So last week, Jack CH3 on Reddit posted about how he was fighting at Sunken Relay. And so he put up a flail and started firing. Eventually was able to take down a sky shield and have allies flood in. And he kept firing at the silo itself to try and take it down. And he killed a handful of friendlies, about 7 to 9. Never received any friendly fire warnings, and then suddenly got banned for an hour for team killing. And he complained on Reddit, and Prompt Critical immediately responded, or pretty quickly responded, that the Flail is now exempt from team kill tracking. So you're able to slaughter away, as he said. So basically, by adding this to team kill tracking, it's not going to trigger the automatic kicking of you and banning of you. If you still continue to flail a whole bunch of people, friendlies, and they submit a report on you, you could still get banned for it. But at least know that if you accidentally kill people with your flail, that you're not going to be banned for it automatically. And I thought that that was good. I do think that, I hope they haven't added that to the orbital strike as well. They haven't, as far as I know. But interesting to see that they were willing to make a quick change and add that to the flail right away. So yeah, go ahead and kill your friends with the flail. And we'll certainly just leave it as that and move on to topic number 4 this week. And like I said at the beginning of the show, topic number 4 is about Steam. A lot of people have recently been on Steam because their summer sale is going on right now. And I'm sure that quite a few people, when you're doing, because there's the summer events during Steam as well. You know, you play the game, you get cards, you go through your queue, and you get cards. And that's where I really want to focus on, is when you go through your queue and stuff like that. Because when you go through the queue, it tries to give you suggested games that you might be interested in. And I'm imagining right now that we're probably getting a lot of new players on Steam, where Planetside 2 is coming through on that recommended feed. And I'm sure that there are some players that are saying, oh, I've never heard of this. Oh, it's free to play. Oh, let me check that out, and stuff like that. So there was a post on Reddit by Nidius1, and he wrote that he thinks it was fairly recently, but the Steam reviews on Planetside 2 had dropped to mixed. And we certainly don't want that to happen if we're trying to bring players into the game. Now, when I checked it today, Planetside 2 is back up to mostly positive, so I do think that Nidius1's calling this out and making sure everybody was aware of it and bringing it to everybody's attention probably prompted quite a few people to pop over there and leave reviews and positive reviews. to kind of get us back into the mostly positive state where we were, and that's good. But more than anything, this is kind of a call that I wanted to put out to my listeners as well, especially if you're playing on Steam, that you might want to check there every now and then and see if we're continuing to be in the mostly positive state. And if you see us starting to dip back into the mixed or, heaven forbid, negative reviews, a negative type overall review, which I don't think it's ever going to happen, maybe it's time for you to think about leaving a review if you haven't in the past. Now, I don't want people to only put in positive reviews because that's the way they feel. If you feel Planetside 2 is a shit game, well, first of all, I'd be surprised if you're even listening to this podcast, but I don't want to discourage you from leaving a negative review if that's really how you feel about the game, because I do feel that all reviews should be honest and accurate for the game itself. I've put negative reviews down in the past for things that I don't like. I'm a habitual reviewer on Amazon. Every time I buy something on Amazon, I leave a review for it because I trust people's reviews a lot and base a lot of my purchases on Amazon based on reviews. I pretty heavily use that Fake Spot website constantly for my Amazon purchases. So I appreciate it when people take the time to review something that they like or dislike and give their reasons why. So again, this is just a call out. I hate to see Planetside 2 drop back into a mixed category, especially during a time when a lot of people are going to be getting their eyeballs on the game, like I said, through the Steam Summer Sale, where they throw things like that in your queue. So again, more than anything, just a PSA, keep your eye on Steam every now and then. And if we do start to drop again back into the mix and you're someone who's passionate about Planetside 2 and has never left a review before, then's definitely the time to do it. But with that, let's move on to housekeeping this week.
Housekeeping. Housekeeping.
Come back later, please.
Housekeeping.
Not now.
Housekeeping.
Go away.
I coming anyway?
So for housekeeping, no emails, no phone calls, anything like that this week, but that's fine. I've had quite a few the past few weeks, so we can actually just wrap this week's show up now. So how can you get in touch with me or the show itself? As always, your first stop should be my website, www.instantactionpodcast.com. You can always send me an email if you have any questions. I'm happy to read them on the show and answer. That email is instantactionshow@gmail.com. You can always call me and leave me a voicemail, 347-4VM-4PS2, or that's 347-486-4772. As always, please follow the show on Twitter. It's @InstActPodcast. You can also follow me on Twitter. My personal Twitter account is @TheDerringer. But in closing, if you've enjoyed the show, please leave me a review on your podcast listening avenue of choice, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere else. Also, feel free to tell your friends and outfit mates about the show. And finally, thanks for listening, and keep spamming that Join Combat, formerly known as Instant Action button.
Get your arms combined.